following is a presentation of Zagnif Productions, LLC.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, good evening, and how is everybody doing this evening? How are you doing? Not only how are you doing, did you find a reason to smile today? How are you doing? You in the back, I don't see you smiling. You better do, okay, don't smile. You need an orthodontist. You over there. How's everybody out there doing today? We appreciate you for joining us. First show of 2022 and the penultimate show of the 2022 college football season. That's the $175 SAT word mean next to last show for the football season, because then we got one next week. Anyway, thank y'all so much for joining us. I am Mr. Fingaz, coming to you all the way from Zagnif Central in the heart of Oklahoma City. And that guy over there, my partner in crime, he is the brother from another, the sexy mother Hubbard, the ace of base in the place, in your face. I am very happy to be here. I've just been placed in charge of garbage. Do you have any that requires disposal? That's the homie right there, Collin P. from the DMV. How are you doing today, sir? We appreciate you. How you doing, bro?
Man, I don't know if I can get any better. I don't know if I can, man. I don't know. My heart needs a break. I don't know about you, but I mean, man, after watching like Michigan and and TCU and then our game, my heart can't take no more. I really can't. You know what I mean? And it's only going to get worse, I think, with playing TCU next week. So, but other than that, man, I had a great week. How about yourself?
Oh, man, I'm doing marvelous, bro. I'm doing marvelous. You can't get no better. Those of you that I am connected to on Facebook or in some way, shape, form, or fashion in a group or something like that, you got the opportunity to see my real-time reaction to the end of the game. I think my pulse and blood pressure just came down today. I had to double dose on the medication to get it down today. Doctor said don't take no more than 2, because then strange things start happening. So, yeah, it was a great weekend, man. Happy New Year, first and foremost, to you, sir, and to our lovely guests. And ladies and gentlemen, we do have a guest with us today. I am rude where are my manners. We were going to have her come out a little bit later on, but we decided to just go ahead and have her sit with us, and we'll explain to you why in just a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, a nice round of applause for Smacking Off the Podcast and the SEC Focus Group, the one, the only, Miss Nikki Mays. Nikki, how are you doing, dear heart? Appreciate you.
Still coming down from a high this weekend of football. It just keeps getting going.
That was a phenomenal weekend of football, was it not?
Crazy.
Let's just go ahead and say that first and foremost. Was that not a phenomenal weekend of football?
The best we've had in forever.
I mean, the CFP, I mean, last year, no offense to Cincinnati and Michigan, but last year, well, sorry, Michigan. I started to say something, and I realized, sorry, Michigan fans, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to dog you guys, but let's just say that we had a lot more, and let me fix that. Michigan didn't give up.
No,
this year, like last year, it was a little bit different. Georgia just came out and punched them in the mouth and just ran hard and fast until the game was over. Michigan actually fought back this game, so it was a really tight game. So I'm going to retract that statement because I don't want Kate and Alex mad at me, and my homeboy Pastor Chris up outside of Grand Rapids, and my coworker that I sit next to, Mike. I'm sorry, bro, if you're watching this. I'm sorry. Y'all actually did put up a good fight. Great games this past weekend. Great games. I don't know really what can be said that hasn't already been said about this game. Although our fans,
Well, I would rather.
our fans are doing a whole lot of chirping in the comments.
Yeah, I'd rather not have been as close as it was. To be honest with you, I'll go ahead and say that because I mean that hurt my heart a little bit too much. It was a good game, no doubt.
Let me go ahead and put this out here. I think we have a challenger to the throne of the title of Mr. I Want to Smoke. Our buddy Nathan Snell out in the comments cutting up. Nathan Snell, I'm going to say this to you right now. I told you I was going to try to keep Shannon. I was going to try to keep Shay Shay. I'm sorry we covering everybody's faces. We trying to get them all in the same place at the same time. There we go. Nathan Snell, if you don't stop with all this foolishness about the dogs want some of the Terps.
Hey, he misspelled the name. You got D-A-W-G. Ain't no D-O-G. Come on now. Come on, Nate. You know better than that.
Nate is always out here looking to be provoked. You're always trying to start. No, listen, my granny had a saying. You know, all the sayings come from my grandmother because I don't really make a whole lot of them up except do something for two something and hot fresh ales and hit back in miles of hen dog. But my granny always had a saying, and my granny always said, "Don't start none, won't be none," and that's where we gonna leave that at right there. Oh my God! It's just straight out the gate, just Nate coming for us. Those of you the rest of you that have joined the chat, we appreciate you. It's showing up as Facebook user in our feed here. I don't have my Facebook up right now. If either of you do, maybe you can help me figure out who that is commenting. But we do appreciate y'all dropping through, hanging out. Let's see. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, that must be my man Johnny Dean. That is Johnny Dean right there. Give us a slack. What? Wait, no, I'm not giving Nate no slack because you know what the Falcons or the Dogs lost. He would be in the the Falcons. No, the Falcons won. Hey, the Falcons won.
Yeah. We can make a field goal.
Yeah.
Every now and then.
Yeah, we made it. Oh wow, was that a shot? Shots fired. Don't do that.
That might have been a shot.
Hey, look, Karma's a bad baby, man. Karma will come back at you. Karma is a bad baby, and I don't mean the Catch Me Outside girl from Dr. Phil. Anyway, strike nothing. You throwing the pitches way up over. Never mind. I'm gonna leave that alone.
I heard that.
Don't start nothing. You heard? Did you hear that? That was me opening up a can of book pass. Make me take my glasses off up in here, Skip Bayless. All right, let's keep this thing moving on along here before we get too far gone off the rails. Let's call it what it is. The SEC this year is struggling with bowls this year. Good God, I'm so tired of these banners. Let me see where did I have it set? Because I don't want your face covered, Nikki.
There we go.
SEC struggling with bowl
season. Let me stop you for a little bit. She actually makes us look better. You know that? Like, Nikki actually look a lot better.
I look like a hot mess express.
That should tell you something.
Okay, if you're a hot mess and you coming on the show makes us both look better, what does that tell you?
It's bad this weekend.
See, I can't even drink without dribbling on myself. I thought I might need to get a sip. That's a shame. What? I'm a grown man needing a sippy cup to drink a Coca-Cola. Anyway, SEC struggles this year with the bowl games. Only winning teams we have so far is Tennessee and who else? Who was the other team? Tennessee and Georgia.
Mississippi State won.
Tennessee, Arkansas, and us.
Okay. And then Mississippi State won today?
And LSU won today.
Okay, I didn't check any of the scores today. I was busy making dinner. Don't know if y'all saw dinner. Your boy made rack of lamb today, and he cooked it in the Traeger.
Ooh. Don't be saying that kind of stuff.
Don't hurt him. I made it with some scalloped potatoes, and I cut the potatoes myself. I didn't get the ones out the Betty Crocker box, and I made the sauce. And I made the béarnaise sauce, produced the wine, and put it in the béarnaise sauce. Boy, watch out, boy. About to get my own cooking show. No, I'm not, because I don't want to have to cook for a living every day. Well, actually, I wouldn't mind doing a cooking show, because then that means that when y'all cut, somebody else come and clean all the stuff up.
Yeah, you might have a neighbor in Oklahoma.
So I might not mind. Huh?
I said you might have a neighbor from Collin P from DMV. I might be moving to Oklahoma if you're cooking like that. I might have to be your neighbor.
Bruh, look, you are one of several people that have threatened to move out here. Ain't nobody do it. And if you feel a froggy jump, let's go. Let me ask this question. What do you all feel? I know, Nikki, you do have a greater allegiance to TCU, but Also being part of an SEC group. What do you feel is the biggest part of the problem with the SEC and their bowl struggles this year? Because this is not the first. This is the second year that the SEC has kind of struggled in the bowl games.
I mean, starting off with my Gators, they didn't care to be there. They took a free trip to Vegas. I mean, that's what I seen. And then the only teams that actually showed, probably Tennessee, they came out fighting. Mississippi State, they came out fighting, but it was hard for them today. It was a rough game.
Yeah,
but they won.
Alabama.
LSU destroyed Purdue. I mean, there was never.
But that was what they were supposed to do.
No, I'm saying like they're lucky they have players. They were taking players out. It was that intense.
Ooh.
And then, of course, Bama with K-State. But K-State had, I don't know, they just didn't, K-State didn't show up.
Well, no, I think once Deuce Vaughn tweaked whatever it was, he tweaked it kind of, and he was their main, he's a big cog in that offense. But he didn't come out of the game, but he did get tweaked up a little bit, and he wasn't quite the same after he got tweaked. I think he got a little gun shy. Just because I think this is his final year, and so he's going to the draft, and he's like, I might have to shut it down a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that 88-yard run that he ripped off, I was like, ooh, it's finna be some trouble.
I thought it was too, but I think they gave TCU everything they had, including half their team physically, and they didn't have time to rest up. It's kind of my thought process on that too. I watched TCU go into K-State for the championship game, and they played very conservative until the end of the game, and there just wasn't enough to keep them going. And I think K-State came in ready to go, and they gave them everything. I don't think I ever thought that K-State had a chance against Bama. There wasn't.
Yeah, what's crazy is, though, I mean, like, you saw that kind of happen with K-State and Alabama, and then everybody was like, well, TCU had no business being in the Final Four, you know what I'm saying? Because what Alabama did to K-State beat TCU. I'm like, well, it could have, should have, would have. I mean, it didn't happen that way. I mean, you can't necessarily base facts or try to base facts on that kind of stuff. You know, it's just.
Given day, any team can win.
Yeah.
Or what you're ranked. We talked about this on Focus the other night, was TCU stats this season. You look at every one of their stats, and you honestly would think they lost the game 20 years.
Sure.
The same thing against Michigan. Michigan had over 200 plus more yards on the ground and in the air. So,
those games are like that. I mean, like Nikki goes, I mean, look at our game against Tennessee. I mean, like, the score did not dictate how that game went, right? I mean, like, the score, it didn't show how that game actually went. I mean, and people, I wasn't one to say that, but people said that we just stomped all over Tennessee, which, in all respects, we did, but the score did not dictate that. I mean, if you're looking at the score just solely by the score, it didn't look that way, I mean, you had to watch the game, so.
Yeah, Let me address this here. Nate, I do believe the only Big Ten team we faced all season was Ohio State, and that's it, all the way across the board, to the best of my knowledge. So there's your answer. Yep, we did. We beat them. So, all right. I don't know who this is. I hate that I can't see everybody that's on there. Hello, let me send a quick shout out to everybody that's been tuning in and saying some things. We got Jai Stevens, Wanda Higginbotham, Connor. Oh, Miss Katie Alverson has joined the fray. Hello, Katie. Dwayne Renshaw. We got our guys, Chris Keenhold from SEC Focus. I know our Jeezy's in the comments somewhere, or maybe he's lurking. Nate Snell, appreciate you joining. And as always, the irreplaceable Johnny Dean of NFL Edition. Appreciate all of you for tuning in. We are going to take a quick video break, pay a little homage to our sponsor, pay a few bills, and we will be right back with more this week. Stay tuned. That's not the one that I meant to play. My trigger finger got a little happy. Here we go. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, Squid Ribs Cards, get at our guy, Sid Swinton, part of the Let's Talk Football family of podcasts. He and his wife have like 8, 9 shows on during the week. They do a halftime thing during the Sunday night game. They got a couple more of those left. It's absolutely hilarious. It's 100% unfiltered, and Ash is yeah. And then Ash is part of the ladies show on Thursdays. Let's Talk Football. The ladies take over. Sid also does Let's Talk Fantasy Football, along with shocker, his wife and the homie David Wright. He's also part of North Sports Dynasty. They're on Friday night. So yeah, they're doing a doggone thing there everywhere and anywhere. Get at our guy. His tag is at Squid Ribs Cards on TikTok. Get at him today. They also have a Facebook page now. Just opened that up about a month, 2 months ago. And you see, you can get all the football cards you need. Sometimes they do bust the pack open, and they have a lot of the same cards, which is rare, but it happened. I watched it last night. I seen it with my own eyes. Get at them today. So we're going to move on to our next topic this week in UGA football.
Hang on one second. So, I mean, I just want one question for you both, actually. Is like, is the SEC, I guess, their record or whatever for bowl games, is that indicative of the players that are opting out of the bowl games? I mean, do you think that that's why they lose? Or, I mean, nobody really cares anymore. I mean, like, I know that. I mean, it's kind of a hypothetical. I mean, not a hypothetical. But
I don't think they care. Yeah. They opt out, and in the ones that do play, like Bama, they didn't have. I think they had maybe one, and it wasn't. I think it was for transfer or something. But
yeah, did you hear what Saban said about that though? Like, he actually threw them all. He's like, dude, if you're not willing to play, you can't be on the sideline. I mean, I agree totally with that. I mean, like, honestly, you should not be on the sideline if you don't want to play.
He's trying to fix what has been going on with these bowl games. That if you're not in the playoffs, it's not worth playing. We got to quit that. I think every bowl game is worth for these guys to showcase themselves.
Yeah,
but
I agree. I mean, like, honestly, if people get worried about, the players get worried about them playing a bowl game getting hurt. I mean, you can honestly get hurt anytime during the year. I mean, that really, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Matt Corral, I'm going to play. Yeah. He got injured, and where's he at now?
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just saying, like, if you opt out, I mean, you should not. I mean, honestly, as far as school concerned, in my opinion, if you opt out, you should not be on that sideline. You should not be in the stadium. You should not be in there. If you say you're leaving, you should leave right then and there. I mean, you should not have any other affiliation with that school whatsoever. I mean, that's my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just the way I feel about it. Because, I mean, like, you signed in to play for this school, and they've given you a scholarship, what have you, whatever. Probably give you more than that. You have a kind of a promise, in my opinion, to fulfill your promise. And, I get it, but I don't get it. I'm kind of halfway there. I just don't know. I don't know how to fix it. But
in some points of some of these players not opting out of maybe, okay, so like Florida played in the Vegas Bowl. What did it matter for us? They put us up against actually a decent, Oregon State team. These players were like, why? Most of them still played, including some of our transfers that are in the portal. But still, what was the point for our big guys to play that game?
Sure.
There's not. But you got New Year's Six. That's different. You got the Orange Bowl. You got the Sugar Bowl, the Rose Bowl. I don't know. I guess.
I mean, you got Bryce Young, coming back, to doing that, and kind of those guys coming back to play that bowl game, and then that's kind of what Saban was saying, and I think that's what drove him to say what he said.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I also think that with the advent of the 12 team playoff, that will change some things, because some of these games will now mean things, and it means that you have a shot at the championships, which we may see more guys opting to stay and play, knowing they have a shot at the championship versus tipping out. But having said that, we do need to move on to our next segment. We're going to keep this thing moving along. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, last year we did this segment, and it went fairly well. So we're going to bring this one back. As you know, the regular season is over. We are almost through bowl season. We have one game left, and that is the national championship this coming Monday evening, where the Dawgs are taking on the Horned Frogs in Los Angeles at SoFi Stadium. But before we move another further, we've taken a look at everybody, and we're gonna give them their grades for the year. All righty then, SEC grades this year. So we're just going to start. We're going to start in the West. We're going to start with LSU. We're going to try and keep this moving along because we really want to get into the recap of the Peach Bowl and talk about the meat and potatoes of what we came to talk about, the national championship game. So we'll go ladies first. We'll start with LSU. Nikki, what grade would you give LSU this year?
It's hard to give them a B plus.
All right, yeah, they definitely started had a little bit of a rough start. Wound up finishing the season 10-4 overall. Collin, what you got?
Yeah, I would say probably a B. I'd say B, about a B. I'd say B.
Okay. I think Brian Kelly probably had some folks thinking he was a little bit of a buffoon and a clown when he came in with My Family and the 360 pictures, the 360 pictures with the kids. But I mean, there's a reason. There's a reason that but there's a reason that he is. I believe he's the winningest coach in Notre Dame history right now, on the record books. So I think it was a good hire. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to bring to the table next season. So I'm gonna hit him. I'm gonna hit him with a B. I'm just gonna slap a minus on there just because I'm pissed off at Brian Kelly for faking the accent. All right, there we go. That's LSU. Huh?
I said he don't need to be doing that. I mean, don't.
Hey, look, don't.
We'll pick it up. We'll pick it off right off the jump, dude.
Right.
I don't know. More creepy dancing with the players. That was. I mean, those two together. He might get like a C or a D. That was just creepy.
Yeah, little weird. All right, moving on to our next squad. The Aggies of Texas A&M, number one recruiting class in the country, wound up finishing 5-7. And Collin, I'm gonna let you hit this one first.
I'm gonna say about a C minus actually, because I thought they were gonna be better than they were this year.
Okay, Nikki, what you got?
I'm going to a D to an F. You can't have number one recruiting class and not. Only reason I give them a D is because they beat LSU.
Yeah.
Other than that, that was the worst showing. You let Florida beat you.
Oh my
the worst we've been in forever. No.
Yeah, I'm going to go a little further, and I hate to give out these kind of grades, but I'm going to give them an F. After all the barking you did at Kirby about, these guys are cheating, and after I'll whip his ass, and how they thumped their chest about beating Bama last year, then we got the number one recruiting class, and you came out and you completely crapped the bed. On a whole lot of things. So they get an F from me. We're going to move on to our next team here in the SEC West. We're kind of blowing through these pretty quick. For those of you that are just joining us, welcome to This Week in UGA Football. Mr. Fingaz is here with my co-host Collin P. and our lovely guest, Nikki Mays, joining us from SEC Focus. We're going to talk TCU versus UGA a little bit later on. She's got on some similar. Is that the whole color ensemble, or is that just a happenstance?
This?
Yeah.
Like purple? I just have purple one.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to talk
We
TCU.
did order some new TCU gear.
Nice.
We have our lucky stuff and some hats that look like they've gone through the mill, but
lucky hats.
Oh man, you talking about lucky? I don't know if you saw my post or not. I went through 3 shirts. I started the game with one shirt on, and then I went out and got the red T-shirt is the one that I was wearing during the national championship game, and we kept goofing. So I went and put on the shirt that my wife got me for Christmas, and oddly enough, that was the one that put us over the top. So thank you, honey, if you're watching this. We're gonna keep this thing moving on along. Who did I say I was going to? We are going to move on to Ole Miss. Ole Miss. I'll go first here. I'm going to give Ole Miss a B minus because I was expecting that the offense would shift. Collin and I talked about this at length leading up to the season. Matt Corral gone. He was about 60 to 75% of their offense. They had to retool their entire offense around a new quarterback. So I give them a B minus. They could have done better, but I'm not surprised that they did take a step back to 8-5. Nikki, what you got?
I'll go with a C. I think they Lane's been there long enough. They shouldn't still be mediocre.
Fair point. Fair point. Collin, what you got, bro?
Yeah, I can agree with Nikki on that, but I would say probably B minus though. I mean, like I'm beginning to like Lane. I'm sorry, like I just like him being that guy. It's like, come on, Nikki. He's like old ball coach. Old ball coach is not around no more. So I mean, Lane is taking that spot. You know he has.
Yes, he says.
I
Say,
love what he told
say it. Everyone hated Spurrier, and that's why everyone now hates Lane, and I love it. I love it.
I like it.
Yeah. Let's see. For those of you that are in the comments right now, we are discussing the SEC West. We have done LSU, Texas A&M, Ole Miss. We are moving on to the next team. We'll go ahead and just throw this one out here. Let's just go ahead and do it. Alabama. Nikki, to you first.
Ooh.
That one's hard because every year Bama is really at the top at an A. So this year I'm gonna have to drop him to probably a B minus to a C. With the reason was Saban in the middle of conference championship weekend pleading to tell them not to look at their good losses. You shouldn't have those losses.
Yeah, Bama. Boom. There it is. Hey, we have a saying, but speaking of Bama, we have a saying about that here around these here parts. And if I can find the video, I would love to share it with you. Oh, there it is. I found it. And it goes a little something like this. Hit it.
Bama does what Bama do.
It's Collin's infamous quote from season number 1. Collin, what you got, sir?
No, I agree with her. I mean, and kind of what we were just talking about earlier, I was kind of alluding to the fact like Saban is not the Saban we've seen in years past. He coming out and honestly like begging for them to be playoffs. And they're the Big Ten championship, not even for the SEC championship. Just I don't know what's going on with him. That you've never seen that from him. And I mean, I'm not just saying that. I'll give them probably I would give them a C plus, maybe a B. Because, I mean, honestly, they're not the Bama that they were. I mean, like, honestly, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird to me, though. Like, even Saban's not the Saban he was. I mean, like, I know he's getting older, but, I mean, what much more can he do? I mean, I don't even understand why he's still here. But, I mean,
college football, the face of college. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Nikki.
I think it's the portal that's scaring him.
Well, now he's all about it now, though.
I know.
I mean, like, he's wishy-washy.
And then, bam, he has 11 this year transferring. He's not used to that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the fake college football, as we know it, has kind of moved on, and he's still here. Another guy that's guilty of that is Dabo Swinney, and we see how their season went. But that's a different story for a different day. Moving on along to our next team here. We're going to try and roll through these here. Let's see. We'll go ahead to their cross-state rival, Auburn. I'll go first. Auburn finished the season 5-7, and I'm gonna have to give them a C. The only reason I give them a C is that I wasn't expecting much out of them. We knew Brian Harsin was on the hot seat, yada yada yada. So that's where I'm at. I'll give them a C. Collin, what you got, sir?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, their coaching, their troubles off the field is kind of like overshadowed their anything good on the field. But I mean, yeah, I would agree with that. So, a C. I'm sorry.
All right, and Nikki, to you.
I would go C minus, and then with the higher at the end of the season and the fire and the higher, I'd go C plus.
Yeah.
Okay, all right then. And I missed my Bama. Bama, I gave them a B plus. Only because they did still finish out the season. 11-2 all the way around. Bryce Young is still Bryce Young. They still managed to get themselves a bowl game, and both those guys showed up and they showed out and they played hard. So I give them that. I'm not giving Saban any credit, but just to the players. All right, moving along. Let's see who we going to next. How about Arkansas? Arkansas, Collin, that's on you, sir.
Arkansas. I would say B minus actually. You know, I mean, I thought they would do better than what they did, but I mean, actually, I was not wasn't. I think they did pretty good this year to being what they were thought to do. So yeah, I'd say B minus.
All right, and to you, Nikki.
I'm going to go with a C. I expected them after last season to come out stronger than they did, and they actually finished worse. Yeah, they had KJ was injured 3 or 4 games, so
Yeah.
that took a big hit on them. But yeah, I think I'll go with the C.
Yeah, I think I'm hovering right along with you with the C as well. KJ, Collin and I have preached about how much heart this kid has and how much of a baller he has, and just a tweak here or there would make all the difference in the world for them. And they didn't do any better. They didn't do much worse because I think last year they were 8. I think last year they were 8-5 all told. So they didn't do better, but they didn't do a whole lot worse, but they didn't do any better. So that's why we're going to stick with them. Moving on to the next team, and then this will close out the West, Mississippi State. We saved this one for last. Rest in peace, Coach Leach. Closing out the season with the win today to go 9-4. Nikki, what you got?
That's hard because before Leach, I would have given them probably a D. But I watched what these guys did when they lost their coach and what leaders and what they have heart. And I say I'll give them a C+ after that game today. That you could see, and then they're coming back. Will Rogers is coming back next season. He's put up some insane numbers this year. I mean, just insane. I mean, he beat Dak out of the water this season with every record. So yeah, I give him a C.
Okay. All right. And Collin, to you, sir.
Yeah, I'd go a little bit higher. I'd say C+, maybe a B minus. I mean, I enjoy watching him today, and it's unfortunate that Mike Leach is going. Aside from Lane, he was another guy I love watching. I mean, just what he talked about. He was so colorful in his commentating, and any kind of interview he gave was amazing. But yeah, I mean, I'd say C+ or C minus, C+.
C minus, B. What's B minus, C+? Yeah, got you. I gave him a B+. And here's why. I wasn't expecting I didn't know what to expect out of them this year. Because Mississippi State can either be really, really good, really, really bad, or somewhere in the middle of the road, just on the just above or just below the midway point. And to see what they did this year is, now they have the saga of Mike Leach to go along with it. But I give them a B+, and that's where I stand on that. So we are done with the West. We're going to move on to the East.
I have a question. One question. Okay. So Spurrier Jr. was interim today. They haven't talked about hiring anyone. What's your thoughts about them keeping him as coach?
I don't know. My 2 cents. My 2 cents is I think you still need to interview. They still need to interview other candidates, and then maybe if there's a better candidate, then hire that candidate. Mm-hmm. But if he's somebody that's me not being familiar with their entire coaching staff, if he's somebody that's working within that coaching staff, has been there and working and has a good rapport with the team, mm-hmm. Then that definitely is. I'll put it like this. I won't say it gives them a foot in the door, but it's kind of like having a 10-point disabled veterans hiring preference, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Not to, for those of you vets out there watching, myself being one also, that's the only reason I know about that. Not to make the comparison. I mean, the two are apples and oranges, so please don't anybody come for me, okay? If you happen to be watching this show outside of the regular folk that watch this show that know me better than that. So,
EC and OC, they both were interim. They split today.
Okay.
They didn't have. I think that's Rainey that said it. They thought the DC was interim. They split. I guess they were doing giving them both duties. Mm-hmm. But that was the talk after the game was, would they keep Spurrier on as their junior as their coach, because these guys rallied behind him.
Okay.
I mean, if he's good in the locker room and he's got these guys behind him, why not hire him? I mean, if he's got the guys, buying into his system and what he's doing, I mean, why not?
Mhm.
That's my.
All right, we're going to move on to the East. I am going to start with Vanderbilt. I will go first. I want to give Vanderbilt an A. I really do, because Vanderbilt was very exciting to watch this season. I mean, they came out of the gate knocking people in the mouth, and yeah, they weren't beating up on like the Oklahomas and the Ohio States. But Vanderbilt, it's been a long time since they came out of the gate the way they came out of the gate. And yeah, when they got into the meat and the potatoes, it went the way we expected. But it still was not the Vanderbilt we remember. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to give him an A. I want to give him an A plus so bad. The only drawback, the only thing that's keeping me from giving them an A plus is the fact that they finished under 500. They finished with a 5 and 7. I want to give them an A plus. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm grading Vandy on a curve. So Vandy, you still finish with an A, but it's going to be an A minus. But I want to see what happens next year. Clark Lee came out. Collin and I, when Clark Lee came out and said, we're going to be the national champions, Collin and I laughed at that. And he definitely did some things for that program hey, look, it's something to be said when you're a kid away from home for the first time and you're playing for Vanderbilt. And you were like, wow, coach actually believes we can win. Well, maybe we actually can win. And they went out and they did. So I'm gonna give them an A minus. That's what I'm giving them. Nikki, to you.
I'll give them a A minus to B plus. I was excited watching them against Hawaii, even against Wake Forest. They put up a fight. We didn't expect that. Then beat Kentucky and then beat Florida. Yeah, I have to give them. It's not the same Vandy that Florida used every other year for homecoming. So that's, to me, that you have to get good rating on that, because we used Vandy every other year for our homecoming. So 15 years.
Yeah.
So that's, I don't know, I give them a B plus, A minus.
Okay, Collin, what you got, sir?
Yeah, I'm right there with Nikki and you, actually. I mean, Mike Wright, I mean, he played his heart out, and Clark Lee, man, and like I said, I mean, he came out and said what he said, and the team actually, believed what he said, and they came out and actually played a better season than I've seen them play in quite some time. So I mean, yeah, I'm about B plus A around there. So it was actually good to watch playing a little bit,
Okay, all right, okay. Watch me do my Denzel. Okay, all right, yeah, okay, all right. All right, and I knew. Listen, before I even went to the stream to see who it was, I knew who this was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I knew who this was. Mr. RGZ, listen. Jeezy. Listen, let me explain something to you, man. We're talking about this is based on. This is not just based on. This is one of those projects. Is not just based on your numerical score that you got on the project. It's also based on the amount of effort you put into the project. And of all the teams in the SEC, Tennessee was not at the spot where Vanderbilt was. But Tennessee, we'll get to you in a minute, okay? Don't make me dock.
Go ahead. Let's go and give him a D.
Don't let me make me dock you any points. But it's like that. It's like a project that you worked on. Vanderbilt, you can tell that they put a lot of effort into this program this year. You can tell that the players put the effort in, the coaches put the effort in. And yes, they lost the game 56-0. And yes, they lost the game 56-0. But let's also be real about this. The Vanderbilt that we knew and that we know and love and remember and used to have fun laughing at up until last season, that Vanderbilt would not have come. The last year's Vanderbilt did not win 3 games in a row. The year before, Vanderbilt didn't win 3 games in a row. Not only did they come out and win their first 3 games, they won their first SEC game. And I forgot, Chris will tell us how Chris knows. He's a Vandy fan. He'll tell us in how long it was since they won an in-conference game. Yeah, they lost to 56-0, but I'm giving them the A- for the effort. You see what I'm saying?
I think it was 26. They hadn't won an SEC game in 26 games, I think, or
Something like that.
yeah,
Something like that. But we're gonna keep this thing moving on along because we getting hung up on time, but we still got to talk about we're gonna probably just wind up having to touch really briefly on the Peach Bowl and then move on to the national championship. But keeping it moving, since you wanted to open that can of worms, RGZ, we're gonna go ahead and talk about Tennessee Volunteers. Nikki, I'm gonna let you go first.
um,
Come on, give me
that's hard.
give him a good one.
Look, and my pen, and look, and see you done messed up now, GZ. I got a red pen too. Oh, you in trouble?
Okay, up until the Georgia game, I would have given them an A+ because that was a team I think everyone was honestly afraid. Then they played Georgia, and it was like they exposed the right area for them to collapse after that. I still give them an A- just because of the South Carolina game. Like that one to me was just, I thought they were joking the first half of that game because, I mean, we watched Spencer the last few years and he's never played that good. So I really thought
Spencer Rattler did not.
I just thought that they were playing like, okay, they'll be back, no, that was bad. So yeah, I give them an A- to B+ just on the fact that what Josh is doing there is absolutely amazing. And I say we will see this team continue to grow and be better and better the next few years once he gets complete control over it. But as of right now, I have to give him A-, B+.
Yeah. Collin, what you got, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I'm just gonna say they had a phenomenal year this year. Nobody expected them to do what they did this year. Next year is going to be better, absolutely, and provided what Nikki said happens. So I give them an A-. I mean, like honestly, they provided there's a couple of games, our game against them and South Carolina game, that kind of stuff. I mean, nobody expected them to do as good as they did. You know what I mean? And they did absolutely phenomenal this year. But yeah, give their coach another couple of years. Yeah, that'd be good. They'll be back to where Tennessee used to be, I think, which kind of scares me a little bit. So,
it does.
Well, here's what I got. So, Jesus, see, you were doing okay till you opened up. You're doing okay.
Oh, he gonna bring Georgia in this. He gonna bring Georgia in this.
No, I'm not gonna bring Georgia into it. Nikki already beat me to the punch.
That would be nice.
You
Tennessee
talking about
ACC champs? You got to remember that. So we
they beat the ACC champs, and yeah, they lost 56-0 to you guys. But refresh my memory, what happened the week before?
They forgot how to play.
Who did y'all play the week before? Yes, I know it was a away game, but y'all was playing South Carolina. Beamer ball.
Got that swagger. That's a swagger ball. That South Carolina swagger is what that is.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Now, I am going to go ahead and give y'all an A for the season. And I know that there's a difference between an A- and an A, blah, blah, blah. But here's what's up. Y'all did some things this year that were incredible. I mean, the turnaround in the program this year, beyond expectation. Nobody expected what happened with Vanderbilt, even though Vanderbilt was on a way smaller level. Nobody expected anything from Tennessee of that level. You understand what I'm saying? And Heupel's got the boys believing. They got the recruiting going, everything like that. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys an A. Collin, what you got?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I give it A.
Yep.
Okay. All right, we're gonna leave that there.
They get a B because they beat Florida. So
I'm gonna go ahead and jump on South Carolina. I'm gonna give South Carolina a B- because I wasn't expecting much out of South Carolina. Oh, and by the way, the Volunteers finished with a. Where's the record? What was their final record when they finished to include the bowl game?
11.
11-2.
2.
11-2. South Carolina finishes the season at 8-5, which I don't know where. I think Collin. I think you and I don't think we had them going to a bowl. No, maybe no. We had them maybe 7-5, maybe 6-6 even. So what you got, Collin?
South Carolina. Yeah, I mean, like Spencer Rattler. I don't know. I mean, what'd you give him?
I gave him a B, and actually, I'm going to move that to a B minus because he really didn't turn. He really didn't turn it on until it got to the end of the season, and then all of a sudden he went on a tear. And it's not that it didn't make it now. Not that it made any difference in them going to a bowl, going to the conference championship or not.
Yeah.
They did earn a bowl berth, but it was kind of like once it got to the point where the conference championship was no longer a factor, all of a sudden they flipped the switch and they got it going.
Yeah, I mean, like Spencer Rattler should be the best thing since your favorite term since sliced spread when he came to SEC.
That was a great segment. That was a great segment. I might have to post that in the SEC Focus.
Yeah, but it didn't pan out that way. I mean, he got his a couple 3 shoes, 2 on his feet, 1 on his behind, a couple games, and then finally second half of the season he kind of turned it on a little bit. But he didn't really do too much. I would say probably C+. I mean, he ain't nothing to me.
You gave him a C+. I thought you was getting ready to come with the B. Okay. All right, Nikki, what you got?
I'm going with a straight just C because that team was so hit and miss all year. And I'll put it this way, my Gators were absolutely horrible. And that game gave us confidence after destroying them the way that we did. I don't know where they came, how they turned into what they did after that to beat Tennessee. That's just, I don't know. So I'll give them a C. I would have given them lower than that, but they did beat Clemson and they lost to Notre Dame. So yeah, C.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Where are we now? We're going to go to, let's go ahead and pull the Band-Aid off. Georgia. You know what? Even though we finished the season number 1, I'm going to be real. Even though we finished the season number 1, even though we won the SEC championship, even though right now we are going to the national championship, I'm going to be really real. There were some parts of us that were exposed this year that we did not have exposed last year. And so I cannot flat out give Georgia an outright A. I'm going to give Georgia an A minus. I'm almost leaning towards a B plus after the game this past weekend, but I'm going to give them an A minus, and that's where I'm sitting on that. Collin, what you got?
Nah, I ain't scared. I give him an A. I give him an A, flat out A. I mean, there's been good and bad and ugly and everything in every game we played. So I mean, they always fight back. In the games that we actually were behind, we came back. So we're undefeated. So there's no reason not to give them A.
All right, Nikki, what you got?
It's hard. Yeah, I give them a straight A.
I wonder why this comment was still down here. It's because I pinned it. Okay.
The reason I give them an A is because they lost so many last season to the draft, and for Kirby to turn around and use what he had and rebuilt, I think it's amazing. He's following in his, I guess you could call him daddy's footsteps, Saban. But they're not 100% like they were last year. Last year, there was that defense. You knew there wasn't going to be any holes. You knew there wasn't going to be a chance you were going to get away from that defense. This year, it opened up a little more. I think their offense was better this year because I think Stetson, we talked about this beforehand, his confidence is better. And for some reason, I was listening, Coach Sonny was talking about, this is before the season. He said that, they're going to start, TCU is going to start competing for the conference championship game. And everyone laughed at him. And they said, well, how can you say that? He said, because I've got a team, they might all be 3 stars or lower, but they're confident. And he said for some reason that confidence is just making them fight. And I see that in Stetson. He's not the best quarterback, but he has so much confidence, he finds a way. So
And he knows that. That's the biggest thing. He knows
Yeah.
that. He's heard that all his life. Though. He's heard that all his collegiate career. He's not good enough. He's not tall enough. He's not. His arm's not that good. He's heard that. So I mean,
and he's lucky he has the best core around him.
He's
to
got a
keep him
sport
confident.
catch.
You know, there's that. His receivers, his running backs, even down to his O-line, they keep him confident because they protect him. They have to.
But they get, yeah, exactly. I was going to say that you said the offense is better, and it's out of necessity. I mean, like our defense is not as good as last year, so our offense has to be better out of necessity. You know what I'm saying? It's just it has to be.
Yeah. And somebody brought up a grading scale. Wow, this is why everybody gets a trophy. Vandy gets an A for effort because it was supposed to do this. Wait a minute. Now hold on a second. Yes, they lost 15 players and they came back and they ran the table. That's got to be Jeezy. I'm not looking at the feed anymore.
It is.
But listen, Georgia was supposed to come back and take a step back, and they didn't. And they ran the table. Not only ran the whole table, they ran the whole conference schedule, and they won the conference championship, and they won the CFP. But here is what I am telling you: as a fan of my team, I am not going to stand back and go, "Ooh, we great, we best team in the world." We get A+. We get 150. No, the hell with that. I saw what I saw on Saturday. Keely Ringo actually surprisingly didn't get burnt. But the other three fellas that was helping him out did. They got burnt, and they got burnt a lot. And I saw that a lot in the second half of the season. And we had talked all season about how the secondary was good up until about 3-4 weeks ago. That's why I'm giving them an A-. I'm giving them an A- because they moved down the field. They moved the ball down the field in 3-4 plays and then get inside the 20 and stall out and have to kick a field goal. That's why I'm giving them an A-. If they're that good, if they're that dominant, they should come on the field and wipe everybody off the field. Now, I'm not saying that is entirely possible because of the fact that sometimes you have a good game, sometimes you don't. Ohio State whipped everybody and took everybody's lunch money all season, and then Michigan came in their house and said, I came to collect everybody else's lunch money. Thank you very much. Take that with you. So that's why I'm giving Georgia the A-. I'm not saying that Georgia is undoubtedly an amazing team, but I'm saying they got shortcomings, so that's why they get the A-. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
now, if you poke the bear so you can get that analytics out of me to get me to understand that, fist bump, well done. But if you being real for real, come on, Skip. Stop it, Skip. Don't make me get started. We 50 minutes into the show. We ain't even talked about the national championship yet. So let's keep this thing going.
Let me just throw something out there. So we lost 15 players in the draft last year. Our defense is actually as good, if not a little bit better than our defense last year, to be honest with you. I'll say that for a fact. I'll stand there and I'll blink a couple times. And I will tell you that exactly that our defense. I like our defense a lot better this year than I did last year. I mean, because those guys are playing with heart, and they're flying bodies, and they're playing with a purpose. So I mean, and I was one of the few ones that said that we weren't going to take that many steps back. You know, when we lost with 15 players to the draft last year. So I mean, it's just like it goes with what Nicky said though. It's like it's the 3 stars or whatever. You have these players that aren't 100% on all the time. You know what I mean? They don't have.
I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at these grades right here. First of all, Jeezy says, my job is done here. And then these grades that just came in.
Well, no, I'm just saying
my God. I pulled Uncle Lou right there. My God. Yeah, that's about right. And I'm going to follow that. I'm just going to go ahead and write those down for myself.
That sounds good to me.
Florida deserves I guess you can give Florida a D, but I'm at a F and they're my team. But the only reason I would give them a D is because Billy cleaning house. Like that's the only plus I can see this season. Yeah. I'm watching him dismiss and push the cancer out of Florida. Other than that, we beat Utah. We beat South Carolina. We couldn't beat anyone else.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hey, we've been there.
Yeah.
we've been there. Nicky, it comes around every now and then. Came in also.
So here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Rapid fire, fast money. Nicky, Collin, give me your grades for Kentucky.
Kentucky. Oh dear Lord, I say D.
I say C.
All right.
I just felt bad for Will getting hurt all the time, but he played through it, so I got to give him C for heart.
Collin, give me a grade for Florida.
Sorry, Nikki. I mean, you agree with me. I said D.
All right, and then I need your grades for Missouri.
Missouri, actually, I give them a C.
Yeah, see. They play with heart. They almost
I
beat
put a plus on that C because they gave us 3/4 of what for, and had the Georgia faithful a little scared. And I swear, if I never hear that damn trumpet song again, that little third down song that they were playing because they kept shutting the offense down. I had never heard that song before in my life, or if I had, I hadn't paid it any mind. But I heard it so much during that game, I knew it like the back of my hand by the time the game.
Because Florida loses to Missouri all the time, so we hear it all the time.
Hey, Randy, whoever came up with mayonnaise should be shot. Charred and feathered. I'm telling you.
That bowl.
Mayonnaise, excuse me. I'm gonna have to disagree with you, sir.
You can disagree
with you, sir. I will not put mayonnaise in my coffee, but who
would take oil and eggs and let's mix it together and eat it? Let's put oil and eggs and mix it up real fast and then we're gonna eat it. Who does that?
So then, what do you mix your tuna fish with?
I don't eat tuna fish, fool. I eat mustard.
Okay.
I eat mustard potato salad.
I don't eat and watch them at the bowl game. An ex Texas A&M defense. I think it was a DB or something. I can't remember. But he was eating it out of like the gallon jar. Eating it.
Listen, I don't care. Listen, if either of you have seen The Undercover Brother, they say black people don't like mayonnaise. That's a lie. That's a lie. Because I put mayonnaise.
Come on, man. If Denise Richards was giving me that sandwich, I'd eat it. If Denise Richards was giving me that sandwich, I would eat it all day, every day.
Like, I love mayonnaise, but I can't.
I'm just.
Like my pregnancy thing was pickles dipped in mayonnaise.
Well, that's a different thing for pregnancy, but I have always eaten mayonnaise on my bologna sandwiches, on my turkey sandwiches, on my ham sandwiches. I mix my tuna fish with. I make my own tartar sauce, mayonnaise and relish. I make my own tartar sauce.
A tiny bit of mustard, just a little bit to give it a tang.
Yeah, just a little tang. Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with mayonnaise, bro. Don't let that fool you.
Wrong mayonnaise
and look, you can keep Denise Richards because she ain't all there. Anyway, I don't dislike her. I don't dislike her, but the first time I saw her, I was like, wow, she's really pretty. And then after a while, I was like,
she was with Dennis Rodman, man. What do you expect?
It was something in the, well, between if you dated Dennis Rodman and Charlie Sheen back to back, you might be out there too. But wait a minute, here's a real test. Nathan Snell, if you out there, mayonnaise, yes or no? Nathan is a friend of ours. He does a couple of shows, the Big Nate Sports Podcast. It's on all the time, anytime.
That's what's crazy. I'm in Georgia.
He has a lot of different food things that he does not eat, and he blew my mind when he told me
I
he
hate
does not like chicken wings.
Oh, you cannot put mayonnaise in the same. Green bean casserole is a dish. Mayonnaise is to help you fix something. Green bean casserole is horrible.
Oh, boy, I'm ready to.
Green beans with bacon in a pot and you let them cook.
Come on, Jay.
Well, I think we got a little away from ourselves today. Talking about some things. So we're just gonna real quick the Peach Bowl. Ohio State lost. Georgia won. Ohio State played their butts off. CJ Stroud. Hats off to CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud. Marvin Harrison Jr. Get better. Hope you're feeling better. Key play, Stetson Bennett moving the Dogs downfield twice during the fourth quarter for touchdown scoring drives to at least put them in a position to be in the lead, to where Ohio State, it put it on them to be the ones to cap the game off for the win. Of course, we all know how that went. Right at the very stroke of midnight EST, the ball went wide left. Georgia wins. The Peach Bowl moves on to the national championship. Having said that, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back. Here's where you can catch. You've heard us mention Let's Talk Football. Here's where you can catch all the shows in the Let's Talk Football family. Take a look. ladies and gentlemen, right there is where you can catch every single solitary show in the Let's Talk Football family of podcasts and live streams. We also have, I don't know if it was on there, our fellows from North Sports Dynasty, our neighbors to the north, Mr. Alex Faubert, Andrew Faubert, Alex Loosemore. Oh, Lord, Chris, I apologize. I haven't learned how to pronounce your last name yet. Of course, I called Nicole Klychuk for the longest time. Her last name is Klychuk. Also Sid Swinton. That is the North Sports Dynasty. But like I said, Sid is on all the shows. Anyway, speaking of the North Sports Dynasty, this past weekend, they held a bunch of polls. They had their first ever annual North Sports Dynasty Awards. One of the categories was Funniest Host, for which yours truly was nominated, and I am pleased to announce, ladies and gentlemen, that the winner for that was yours truly. Yay! Oh, wait a minute. Nope, I'm going to get the air horn for that one. There we go. Yours truly was voted the funniest host in the North Sports Dynasty inaugural Big Bang Boom. Yay, I'm funny. Ha ha ha! All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Nicky, hold on, let me Nicky real quick. You send me my Tumblr? Do I have a Tumblr?
They all get sent out right after the championship game because we're doing the big giveaway on the championship.
I just want to make sure I didn't miss it. That's he sent my stuff to another house.
I'm trying to figure out. I think we need to do something like really big giveaway on that one.
Cool. Very cool. Thank you for doing that, by the way. That's very awesome.
Oh, I love it. It's fun.
All right, gang. Oh, you know what? I just realized I'm typing comments in the comments, and I'm typing and they're showing up on Facebook, and they're not showing up in the Facebook feed. So to those of you that are typing in the comments, we do appreciate you.
Rewind. Targeting at the end on Harrison Jr. I don't think it was targeting. If anything, it should have been unnecessary roughness or a personal foul at the both, but it definitely wasn't targeting. He hit the back of it. He shouldered but he led with this crap.
Chris said targeting, no personal foul maybe because it messed up when they called it. They called it targeting, so therefore they messed it up.
They couldn't. They couldn't take it back. Foul or unnecessary roughness because they didn't mention it, which is weird.
Hit,
they do. Normally they say.
He got stuck, though.
Reviewing for personal foul or unnecessary roughness targeting. And that way they can pick one or the other if needed. They didn't. They didn't say it. They didn't say it today either on the game.
I mean, that being said, honestly, the end of the Michigan game, I think that should have been a targeting call. They hit it in the back of the head. I thought that was a targeting call for me.
Well, he hit his
helmet. His helmet.
He hit him on his name. And went up.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, so that was the reason, and they said he wasn't a defenseless player, but it should have been the same call. It should have been, a personal foul, something along those lines. We can't keep allowing these type of hits because of CTE. If anyone knows,
I agree. 100%.
Biggest thing is CTE, and we have to do something about it. Not one.
They've got to have that line where
they're not either. Get rid of the call, get rid of targeting because not one is calling it the correct way, and that started with the Tennessee-Alabama game because that was targeting.
Oh yeah.
And they said no targeting. From then on, it has not been consistent.
I was gonna say it needs to be consistent across the board. So
I've been watching. Okay, so the Utah USC game this year. They called targeting 4 times on USC with Utah with the possession, just one possession of the ball. Every time they did it, it was to stop the game. They called targeting.
Yeah.
I think they're using this as something other than what it should be used for.
Yeah.
It's not right.
I agree.
To get to this one here, Nicole, hello. Thank you, those of you that are tuned in, and those of you that have been watching. Those of you that were watching, those of you that are watching later on, whether you're watching live or watching replay, shouts out to some of you that have joined since we got started. That being the homie, the classmate, Ashley, AJ Johnson, and also Nicole Klychuk. Thank you both very much for joining. Nicole, the Dawgs catchphrase is "Go Dogs" is literally what it is. And then there's also "Sick 'em." There's the ritual during it's.
You see, niggas.
That's what we did. We just gonna do that right there for a minute. The Dogs. The first thing they taught us in student. I actually did attend the University of Georgia my freshman year of college, and the first thing they taught us in student orientation was how to call the dogs during the kickoff. And if you watch the game, which I'm sure those of you that are, if any of you have ever watched the game, now you'll hear it the next time you see it. You'll hear the crowd going, "Go Dogs! Sick 'em! Woo, 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 woo." That's what you hear
50
during
and
the kickoff.
6-year-old men barking like dogs. It's a wonderful thing.
No one watches.
So
yeah, it's okay.
so now that Nikki has taken the Imitrex because she's very ridiculously nauseous. Oh yeah, and I mean there's others. There's Hunker Down, Hairy Dogs. That's from more like in the from the 80s, from the days of Larry Munson. Actually, I forget which game it was, but it was during the national championship. It was during our national championship run in 1980. And it was a very famous radio call. He said, "Dogs, once again, I'm asking you to hunker down one more time." And man, I get emotional thinking about it. But anyway, yeah, we got Hunker Down, we got Sick'em, we got Gatta, which came from the then defensive coordinator, the late Irk Russell. He was the defensive coordinator during. If you thought the defense last year was nasty, you should have seen the 1980 defense. Oh my God, those boys were nasty. Their defensive coordinator's name was Irk Russell. He looked a little bit like a cross between Telly Savalas and Jerry Tarkanian. And I just realized I dated myself greatly because I can hear about 10 or 15 people watching this show right now rushing to Google and go, "Who are these two people?" He was a short ball guy.
Hey, Jeezy even said hobnail boot. He said hobnail boot. Jeezy even said hobnail.
Oh yeah,
over
100%.
like 40 years ago. So it's so long ago you can't just go find it now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can. It's on there. I forget which game it is. I got a couple of people. If I hit them up right now, they'll spit it out like a Jeopardy answer. The Hunker Down, Hairy Dogs, Go You Silver
Run,
Britches,
Lindsay,
Silver
run.
Britches. Run, Lindsay, run. Most of those are from the 1980 season. What was Gatta? Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. So they were doing an interview during the championship. I think it was right before they played Notre Dame for the national championship. They asked Irk Russell, "What does Gatta stand for?" And he said, "Well, seeing as you're going to print this in a nationally printed newspaper, nationally printed publication, let's just say it stands for Get After Them Aggressively." But that's not what that stood for. So
no.
But yeah, and then there's of course hobnail boots. So there's a whole bunch of them. Just
seeing a grown man bark changes your life. I mean, like it's scary.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to Athens a few times for games and always welcomed. I mean, the more you drink, I think even if you're a fan of another team, you end up barking because, yeah.
At least as long as you're not a butthead about it. And then back in the day, if you were lucky, you got to see rest in peace, Big Dog Mike Woods, the bald guy that used to paint the dog on his head. Now his son carries that tradition on. But anyway, we were talking about TCU in the national championship appearance against the University of Georgia. So, we got way off the side of the road. Siri took us 18 miles out of the way to go 3 miles up, a mile and a half up the street to the 7-Eleven. So what to expect? Nikki, what can we expect from your TCU Horned Frogs on this coming Monday?
Oh, it's going to be, I said this earlier, this game is, if you are a fan of just football and you know how this season has gone for both Georgia and TCU, you stand in the middle because both of these teams are coming out off a game that they didn't play the best at, but they won. They found a way and won. So I feel like going into the national championship game, both Georgia and TCU, you're going to see the best of the best, and it's going to be a fight to the end. I can't see if TCU's defense gets to Stetson like they did McCarthy. There's going to be an issue, big time.
Yeah, and that's what we can see, and we did see a lot of Ohio State's defense brought the house, and we saw it a lot.
Go after McCarthy like that was definitely. They've been on the quarterback all season, but nothing like that. watching the defense goal line stands. No, that wasn't our defense. Coach G definitely brought in a different, which they've changed their defense all season. They go after what they're playing. So your rushing team, they make sure they're on the ground. They're going to take care of you. Your air, they find a way to handle it. But that was a different defense. That's a defense I didn't see all season.
Well, Nikki, I'm saying like after Michigan broke off that long run and then
Mm-hmm.
that goal line stand, I think that put a little bit of a little oomph in that team, that defense, having that goal line stand, and the team as a whole. I think that kind of changed the game. You
It
know,
did. They had
they
3 goal line stands. Well, 2
Yeah.
and then a
the
fumble.
first one was a big one.
How do you do my husband, TCU's defensive coordinator was my husband's high school defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So he actually expected this. Like, he's seeing it because that's what he did in high school. And they won state championships in, Texas with Coach Gillespie. So he's like, no, that's how he is. He changes every week's game plan to match what these boys are going up against. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
But he's doing it.
Yeah. And I think you got to, and on top of that, it's like nobody gave them a chance, and they're actually got a chip on their shoulder. So I mean, they're going out and playing they put it all on the field. I mean, they've got nothing to lose. I mean, after they won that first playoff game, I mean, honestly, what have you got to lose? Just play your heart out, and that's it. You know what I mean? Win, lose, or whatever. And that's kind of where we are. But I mean, like TCU's got kind of a different, they're looking at it a different way, I guess, because we've been there before. They haven't.
Yeah.
But at the same point, they're there. You know, I mean, they know what.
They're feeding off the you shouldn't be here.
Oh, of course.
And after that win, the playoff win, they're still seeing they shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Bama should have been here.
Oh, yeah. No.
Tennessee, I've seen it all.
I hear it.
Question football fans in general when I'm reading, how are they allowing a non-Power 5 school in the championship game? People don't know TCU is a what? Come on.
Yeah. Well, even I have people coming to me and saying that Alabama and Tennessee should be in, even after TCU beat Michigan, even after they won, they still going to hold true to that. They still shouldn't be there. I'm like, really? After that?
TCU this year?
Well, hey, gang, let me jump in on this question real quick, and then we got to keep it moving here. It says, is health a concern for UGA in the CFP championship?
Yeah.
We did see a couple of guys go down late, plus the concerns with Lad McConkey and his knee. Is health a concern for the Dogs? I'm going to come to you first. Well, actually, Collin, I'm going to come to you because Nikki's here representing TCU, but I'll get her 2 cents. I'll get her 2 cents on it. So, what do you think, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I got the last that I got on Big O. Actually, Big O was a big loss. That I mean, I think he was out of I think it was third quarter, whatever. He was limping off, but it was a bone bruise or something of that nature. I don't think it's anything serious. Which I say that like I know like it's anything serious. I'm sure he's probably limping. And Lad McConkey, he called that pass for that touchdown there, and he was limping. So I don't know anything about that. But as far as that goes, I don't think we have any other kind of injuries that I know. I know Stetson got, I guess it was that first time he ran out of bounds. I think he got a helmet on the knee.
He got dinged up a little bit. Lad McConkey's had a couple of bonkers. He's got bumped on his knee a couple times.
I mean, I don't think anybody else I know of is
to answer that question, I think we're okay for our key players. I think we're nothing has come up that we know anything about. Now the question is being posed your way. Nikki, is TC or somebody asked Chris, but the better person to ask would be Nikki. What's going on with your starting running back?
We should know tomorrow if he's able to play, but I'm going to say he plays. There's no way.
This is Miller that we were talking about earlier.
They're
right?
not.
Okay.
He's a key player, but if you guys notice, he wasn't in the whole second half of the game because he was injured. And they didn't have an issue. So I think with or without him, they're going to be okay. But he's the only one that's out. Everyone is healthy other than him. And I think Georgia, too, to that answer, Georgia's going to have no issue even if they are semi-hurt, these guys are going to wrap up and go. They don't care.
Yeah. No, it's the last game of the season. Can't hold anything back, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we not a whole lot to say about offense, defense, special teams because everybody saw both games on Saturday. So at this point, it's just going to boil down to this is a segment we like to call X wins if. Collin, I'm going to hand this one off to you. I'm going to have you do the Georgia wins if. So I'll hand it to you. I'll give you 30 seconds and go. Georgia wins if. Hit me. Oops, sorry. Which one? Wrong one.
It's all good. I'll be quick. I mean, all we got.
There we go. Georgia wins if.
Georgia wins if we run the ball. I think we need to run the ball. I think we need to run the ball more than we did last game against Ohio State. I think our defense, our secondary needs to be a lot better than it was against Ohio State. Ringo, not necessarily just Ringo, but the whole secondary in general. Defense was not bad. Defensive line was all right, but we do need to have more pressure to get to the backfield. Make Max have some give him some pressure, make some bad decisions. But my fear is that he is a lot quicker than CJ Stroud, and if we do not get him and wrap him up and put him on the ground, he will be able to outrun them. So, yeah. So I mean, no mistakes with Stetson. Run the ball. If we do throw the ball, if it's not there, throw it away. That's what I got.
Okay. All right, then, Nikki, we're going to turn this over to you. Actually, I got some breaking news here. It just popped in the comments. I don't know if you saw it or not.
Bad.
It looks like T. Higgins. I'm sorry. Hamlin. Damar Hamlin. They've been performing CPR on him on the sidelines.
Yeah, it's bad.
And it hasn't been that long ago. It's been like, maybe 10, 15 minutes ago?
He's been dead for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, they put him in an ambulance and carried him off the field. They put oxygen on him and carried him off the field. Wow. Well, all the prayers in the world for young Damar Hamlin. We know that kind of thing doesn't happen very often in the NFL. But, we are wishing him all the prayers and all. I've grown to hate the term thoughts and prayers because it's really easy to just type some stuff on social media and then go there. I've done my due diligence, but sincerely hoping that this young man makes a 100% full recovery. We don't know what happened, but we're hoping that he makes a full recovery. I saw that jump in that popped up in the comment section. I had to look that up there. Sorry, that took a little bit of wind out of the sails here.
Yeah, it's bad. I've been keeping an eye out. I've been watching the game, and I seen him down, and like no movement, no nothing.
Yeah, I see that.
Really, now both teams are on the field praying.
Yep, I see that now. Oh, yeah.
So this report I have, so that goes to show you how much of a delay the live broadcast is, because according to what I just read online, he's already in the ambulance and been carted off the field
right now.
So yeah,
they just don't feel right now.
I think they stabilized him in the ambulance and was able to get him.
Hopefully, because human brain cannot go without oxygen but for so long. As a matter of fact, without oxygen, blood flow and oxygen but for so long. And one of the things that the Red Cross, God, I can't even think right now. That's got me thrown off. But one of the things that the Red Cross did was they kind of modified CPR. It used to be one person CPR was 16 chest compressions to one breath. So you could get blood flow and oxygen. But now they just said that if you just perform chest compressions at about the same rate of staying alive by the BGs, that's enough to get blood and oxygen circulating, because the oxygenated blood will carry the oxygen to the brain. But you cannot go without oxygen to your brain for very long without suffering brain damage. I mean, you might be able to survive, but, And
the hit was pretty.
It was one of those. I don't even know if I'm going to want to see it. I've gotten to the point where, as a younger man, I was like, "Ooh, show me Joe Theismann. Ooh, show me." No, I don't want to see that stuff anymore.
Yeah, I can't do it anymore either. Because nowadays the bad hits honestly are all head related.
Yeah.
And to see that and know what their future is, I look at 2-0 and I'm like, you need to retire. You need to sit.
Yeah,
Like,
he's gonna have to.
you can't continue doing that. CTE is real. It is horrible. Something has to change, especially in the NFL, because they're not doing it. They are not following protocol.
Well, especially
look at Tua. I mean, like, look at Tua. I mean, that's crazy.
Yep.
Well, let's roll the clock back a few years. Remember, Junior Seau committed. Was it Junior Seau that committed suicide?
Yep.
And I think he donated his brain to science, and his brain was all sorts of torn up from CTE.
Yeah.
Now, if that was not enough for the league to say we really need to do something for these guys, but we're not here.
My husband lost a very good friend, Jevin Sneed. He played for Ole Miss in Texas to CTE. He took his own life, and we have friends that is living with it. His wife finally sent him down to Houston, and he's living with CTE and on meds and doing wonderful now that they know what it is.
Yeah.
So
and,
CTE with me, anyone that wants to look into it, look into the Jevin Sneed Foundation, what the Sneed family is doing for high school level. So to protect these young kids is amazing. And it could be done in the NFL, but they're not doing it.
Okay, so here's what here's what we got. While I got you here, I'm gonna go ahead and give you the floor, and let you give us TCU wins if.
Oh, TCU wins if they're able to stand up to Georgia's secondary. We have to do pretty much what Ohio State did, but more. We have to shut down Ringo. We have to shut down Carter. You can't hear their names. You hear their names, then you know that we're not doing our job. On offense, our O-line just has to continue protecting Max. They've been doing a good job of it the last few weeks, but they have to protect him. That is their heart that keeps that team going. There's no in between. Miller coming back will be absolutely amazing. Other than that, I think it's going to be one hell of a game.
Very nicely said, nicely put. We think so too. We definitely think so too. So let's just roll right on into our game predictions here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Collin, what you got, bro?
I don't even know, man. I don't even want to guess. After that Ohio State game, I'm spent. Of course, I got to go Georgia. I've got to go Georgia, but I don't know by how much. I mean, maybe a field goal, maybe 3 points, maybe I don't know. Let's go with 42-37. Let's do that. 42-37. That's a little different,
42-37. All right, I'm gonna put that in the book. You final answer?
Yes, sir. Final answer.
All right, 42-37. All right, Nikki, what you got?
I'm going to go 41-38 TCU.
There you go.
I feel like it's going to be a draw.
Yeah, I don't think it's a 1 point game, but it's going to be a field goal somewhere.
Yeah, I think it comes down to Stetson and it comes down to Max. It comes down to these two guys that has been looked at as not the best quarterbacks, but they have a heart and they keep this team going with that heart. So I really believe it comes down to them fighting. Yeah, my husband just said whoever has the last possession of the ball.
That's true.
I mean, that's pretty much how it's been all season for TCU. Getting lucky at the end to have that time.
I'm gonna go this way. Of course, I'm leaning towards Georgia. I'm gonna widen the gap a little bit. I think Georgia I'm going to go Georgia 47, TCU 35. Now, I know that's probably complete opposite of what I put in the pick'ems. I'll have to go back to check. But I'm thinking Georgia winds up getting a score and then somehow or another pulling off another one of those kick sixes or a third and Ringo type scenario for some type of another last second touchdown. Nothing grandiose. Not like we beat the living crap out of you. Things just rolled into our hands at the end of the game, and that kind of put the icing on the cake. So that's where I am. So we got our. Go ahead.
He was saying, I think Hamlin had a heart attack. We just watched it again, and I'm kind of saying he had some type of cardiac. There wasn't a hit. He stood up after a tackle and just literally staggered and fell. He was done.
Oof. Man. And it just goes to show you that doesn't matter how young or how healthy you are, it can get you at any time. I don't know anybody old enough to remember Jim Fix, who was the guy who basically sent all of the United States into jogging frenzy with his book, The Joy of Jogging. Dropped dead of a heart attack. And that was a guy that was jogging umpteen miles a day. Now, of course, there was some genetic predispositions and things like that, but
well, I mean, look at guys. Look at these people playing soccer. You know, like constantly running. And those guys. I mean, like, oh my god, I just couldn't imagine.
And those guys have
for nothing. It's just
you're talking about guys with resting heart rates of like 25 and things like that, and that's not unheard of.
Well, Max wasn't even supposed to play this year. He had open heart surgery 4 months before starting the season.
Oh no!
And he's been playing. But if you guys noticed in the K-State game at the end, when he ran in the touchdown, his players were holding him up because he was out of breath. He had that whole fourth quarter of that K-State game, he held it on his back, and he was just drained.
That's crazy.
If you notice him after a run, he gets red completely, face, chest, everything. Wow. But he's healthy. And the doctor said he's doing fine now, but they didn't want him to play. But he did. He said, "No, I'm here. I'm not."
Well, maybe. We'd get into that after we finish up. I have some thoughts on that, but we're gonna move on into our next segment, ladies and gentlemen, because we're not. We said we weren't going to keep you long. We ran a little over this evening. Those of you that are just joining us, thank you for tuning in. Those of you that have been hanging with us, we appreciate you greatly. This week in UGA football. Mr. Fingaz, Collin P, and our guests, Miss Nikki Mays. We appreciate you for being here. Make sure you hit the like button if you like what you see. Make sure you give it a share so you can let everybody in the world know that two of the baddest fans of UGA football are here talking UGA football. And if there is a place to hit and accept and receive notifications or receive a subscription, please by all means do so. That way we can grow our happy little family. And we can become an even larger, larger family.
You guys are like the most real dogs.
What's that?
You're like the most realistic dogs. You guys actually, you're dog fans, but when it comes down to speaking up on the truth and what's going on with your team, you have no issue doing that. A lot of fans are still stuck on, and same any fan base. Gators, so probably got the worst, but
oh no,
not.
I don't know. Funny Man put out a video today, and by the way, RGZ, whatever you do, you can skip the Funny Man video this week if you haven't seen it. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to our final segment of the show. Where we just give you guys some thoughts, some things to think about as you go throughout your week. And yes, indeed, we have played 58 minutes worth of ball, and you don't have any timeouts, but no worries. Why? Because we're at the 2-minute warning. And we are back. The 2-minute warning, ladies and gentlemen, our final segment of the show. This is where we give you a little something to carry with you throughout the week, or for most of us with the attention span we have with our addiction to social media. It'll probably last until you sit down and turn on whatever streaming service you're watching, and you won't remember it tomorrow. But it's okay, because we like to share the stuff with you. So, Nikki, as our guest, and it can be funny. Sometimes we try and keep them funny and lighthearted. Sometimes they can be heavy-hearted. Sometimes they can be touching. Sometimes they might be a little crass. We haven't had a crass one yet. But Nikki, as our guest, we'll let you go ahead and give us your 2-minute warning for the show first.
I don't know. I'm stuck on this. This issue that just happened is kind of eating at me right now.
Okay. Well, we can come back to you. Actually, if you don't mind, if I may take the liberty. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you get your heart checked regularly. I know that here in Oklahoma, it costs like $50, and I think it's covered by most people's. If you got decent insurance, it's covered under your insurance. You go down, they put you in a machine. It's just like an MRI. I need to schedule one for this year. They put you in a machine, and it thing just spins around you just like an MRI, except it's right around your chest. Checks you for blockages and all that good stuff. Make sure your heart is nice and healthy. You should get that checked every year, just like you get everything else checked. So make sure you take care of yourself and do yourself that favor. Give yourself that gift and your loved ones that gift. Because you can maybe catch something a little earlier than and help avoid something much worse later on down the road. So that's my 2-minute warning.
Yeah. And the same with CTE. Watch your kids. That's a big one with me is these young kids. CTE actually is worse when a young child and their concussions in football up to high school while their brain is still growing. And then once you get to, college and pro, that's when you start seeing the signs. Everyone laughs at, Brown and all these players that seem to be kind of out there. Go back and look at how many hits they've had. Protect your kids. They make the correct helmets. That's Jevon Sneed Foundation. That's what they do. They raise the money for these high school kids to have the correct helmets. They're like the Hans device in NASCAR. It protects their brain. And they're not doing it when it comes down to NFL. College is starting. College practices, a lot of them don't hit in practice because of it. Or they're wearing the concussion helmets in practice. But something has to give. This is too much. It's daily.
Yeah, we are seeing an awful lot of it now. I mean, an awful lot of it now. And it's really scary. It's very, very scary, especially seeing Tua, knowing specifically what that is when you see that happen. When you see the guy fall back. I thought I put us all back on the screen. When you see a guy fall back and immediately do like this, you're concussed. You're concussed. That's no questions, no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
They either go in or
the other one is if you lay back out, they either come in or you lay back and point your toes. You have got a concussion. Period. You see it in boxers a lot. Boxers you don't see it that often in football players. So Tua really took a rough one. And to boot, he probably had one the week before. So that's 3 in the season.
How did they not pull him off the field? Watching that replay of him going back on his head, you saw his hands curl, and not one medical doctor on those sidelines said, you need to sit. He's not going to. Dang, we watched Romo after getting a concussion going back on the field talking to the other team. He thought he was playing for the Giants.
Yeah, and we hope that Romo does not have some signs and symptoms
Sometimes
later on in life. I mean, he's still
with his calling,
a relatively young guy.
between him and Aikman, I think they're okay. But sometimes they're calling, and I'm a Cowboys fan, like massive. Sometimes their calls I question.
Yeah. Well, Collin, we're gonna go ahead and leave the Jevon Sneed Foundation here up on the tag here. Collin,
Yep.
hit us with your 2-minute warning, sir.
Oh yeah, well, I'll just give you an update. I think I found it on Twitter here. It's told DeMar Hamlin has a pulse. He's not breathing on his own. He's being transported to UC. So we need AED and CPR on the field. So I mean, he's going to a good. He's being transported to a good place. Hopefully, he'll be. I don't want to do the thoughts and prayers, but prayers to him and his family. Hopefully, he comes back out of everything. Hopefully, but yeah, I mean, that's a constant reminder of tomorrow's. I mean, Anthony, you and I say this almost every episode or every podcast we do is like tomorrow's not promised. I mean, live your life and tell those that are near and dear to you and that you love, tell them that you love them, because you're not promised tomorrow. But that being said, I can echo what Nikki said as well. I mean, I'm 110% agree with her. But after that, I'm really excited for next weekend. Honestly, I'm really excited for TCU and the Georgia game because I'm really, I mean, I wouldn't be heartbroken. I would be heartbroken. I'd be hurt, obviously. But I mean, if TCU would beat us, that would not hurt my feelings more than Ohio State beating us. But I obviously want to win. I mean, I obviously want to get that back-to-back national championship, but would not be. I mean, yeah, if TCU wins, they win. But I'm excited for this weekend. But again, just live your life, man, and live it the way you want to because tomorrow's not promised. I mean, you could be, 19 to 90. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, like you could be tomorrow. It could be your time. So just somebody that you love, do you love them, and just spend your time the way you want to. That's all.
Yes, 100%.
And they've suspended the game temporarily. I don't know if they're going to play. I think the game's done.
Yeah, they may be done.
It may be done.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we would normally like to end on a lighter note, but sometimes things happen, and that's just the way life is. We are hoping that Mr. Hamlin is that he comes out on the other side of this better. I won't say 100%. They probably won't be 100%, but we hope that he makes it through this. One thing to remember, my cousin told this to me. I think it was just last week. He said, "Well, we didn't come here to stay." And I had never. I mean, I knew that, but we never really thought about it or put it that way before. When you put it like that, it's like, ugh. You know what? Yeah. So we didn't come here to stay.
We're all here on borrowed time. Borrowed time.
Yeah. Basically. Anyway, I could get into all the stuff that people have sat out and broke down and all that kind of stuff about life and all the crazy stuff that people have come up with. But ladies and gentlemen, we do want to thank you for tuning into this week's edition of This Week in UGA Football. Had an awesome time, Nikki. We appreciate you for coming on. You are more than welcome to join us anytime you feel like joining us. Anytime you feel like joining us. You know what? I'm gonna give you a couple minutes. Shout out your podcast. Shout out the what is this? It won't do. Why is it not doing? There we go. Shout out your podcast. Shout out your goods that you sell and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, smacking off will be Friday. We're going over TCU and Georgia as well as the Peach Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl. It'll be me and Sean Devine, and I think Shannon Madden and Doug Phillips on Friday. And you guys have tuned into SEC Focused with our GZ, Randy. He loves the Rangers, so he wears a lot of Texas Rangers gear. And
I couldn't tell much as you talking about Tennessee Volunteers. Did I say that out loud? Oh man, I meant to turn my microphone off.
No, he wears Ranger stuff. He really likes the Rangers. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we are gonna have some fun. I'm gonna guess we're gonna have a few pop-ups this weekend and this week with championship game coming on. But yeah, tune in. We'll have fun.
All right, outstanding. Thank you so much for What? Let me see. Did he have something to say in the comments?
Yeah, he said no Rangers here, but he wears them. Even their team wears them. They had baby blue. Yeah, red and baby blue Texas or Tennessee gear for their bowl game.
Oh,
Even they like the Rangers.
I mean, she
I can't
got
say Tennessee.
she got a point, bro. She got a point. Anyway, on behalf of myself and my host Collin P from the DMV and our guest Nikki Mays, we thank you so much for hanging with us, even though we ran a little long this week. That's all right, because we only got one more show, and that is, oh my God, are we doing a show next week, bro? Because it's right before the game.
No. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Yeah, probably. I don't know.
We'll probably do a truncated show. We'll probably do maybe a half an hour or whatever. But yep. So sorry if we ran a little long, but we had a lot to say, and we still didn't get to everything we wanted to say, but we had a lot to say. So we gonna have a lot more to say next week after we think about what we didn't say today, and then we'll say it next week when we didn't say what we were supposed to say today, but we gonna say it next week, and then we were supposed to say it the week before. We gonna say it this week. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of all of us here this week in UGA football, we appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll see you next week. And until then, Nikki, can we get what do the Horned Frogs say? What's their catchphrase?
Right now it's Hypo Frogs.
Hypno Frogs? Okay. There we go.
Yeah.
Hypno Frogs. And then from Collin and I,
yep.
Go Dawgs. We'll see you next week.
Go Dawgs.
All right, so Pete, we appreciate you tuning in and watching these videos. Me and Collin will be back every Monday, every Thursday, right on this very channel. So like what you see, hit the like button. Want to get the notifications, hit the subscribe button. Want your peoples to know, hit that share button and send it all across the internet. We appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. We'll be back next time. We'll see you then. Go Dawgs.